You know, when I came to America newly, I used to think African Americans are lazy. They don't want to work and all that. You will never understand the struggle of African Americans until you live in the system for 5 years. Then you understand that being black in the system is already playing you 10-0. Like you are 10 steps behind. The schools in black neighborhoods, they're all underfunded. The only thing you can find anywhere, everywhere in black neighborhood is liquor store. Keep drinking and keep yourselves busy. Now I understand why everybody's fighting so much to live in white neighborhood. Before I used to say they are not proud of their skin color. They don't love who they are. But they're actually fighting for their children's future. Because being black in the system is already playing you 10-0. You are 10 steps behind. Is it you that is coming with underfunded certificates that want to be competing with somebody that is 10 steps ahead of you? Being black in the system is tough. You see, African Americans and Africans, we are all the same. Let us not be distracted. We are all the same. The only difference is that one is living in America, the other one is coming from Africa. Let's support each other's business. If you see your brother trying to make ends meet, support his business. You get to the point now. Peace and love.
Even though I want to disagree with you, I get where you're coming from. When I see black people talking about racism, all that stuff, I'm like, what is wrong with these people? You guys have food, you have EBT, all this thing, and you're here shouting about somebody is racist too. Just leave that person and move on. I feel that way. Like, why are they always like complaining? But when Black Lives Matters started happening, like, I sat down, I said, I need to actually know why these people are pained. And if we look at the history, what they've done to them, like if you actually sit down, watch some documentaries, how they were maltreated, I don't think if I'm actually born, I will forgive those people. I don't care. It's easier for us Africans that were raised in Africa to feel like they're complaining because we were raised through struggle. Like I barely even have water, and you have water, you are complaining. But then it's not about the basic necessity or about how we are raised. We are raised like, I don't want to say way better. We might not have resources, but there are some way, like our own people will not look down on us or put us behind. So it's in their nurture that way. Like they just can't overlook it. And if you sit down and watch everything that the forefathers have been through for you, I changed my mind. No, they need to be angry. However, they should still move forward.
Hey, what's up everybody? How are you doing? I hope that you're super great, whatever you are today. As you know, these are presented Jindoki Stories, and I'm believing and hoping that you're doing great. Now, this is the month of expose. First of all, happy Black History Month to all my Black family in the United States. Now, there is an important topic that I feel like we need to address, we need to talk about, because for the longest time, this is a topic that has often been, underlooked, or maybe there is no correct judgment for this that has been made, or people are trying to address this. Why are we always having black people fighting all over the world? Africans in this case, people need to take time to understand each other, because we've been having years and years of lies, years and years of propaganda that have been told about us, that Africans have said about Black Americans, that Black Americans also have said about Africans. I understand that the enemy did a great work in making us divided, in making us not understand each other very well. I want us to watch this video where these Africans are going to share their perspective of understanding who truly are Black Americans years after staying in the United States. And you're going to be seeing that their perspective have changed on how they perceived, on how they thought Black people are. And this video is also important because it's going to be revealing how we Africans, we have always been lied to about Black Americans. I hope this video serves you right. I hope we get to learn. I hope we get a perspective. This video was purposefully for educational purposes, to bridge the differences that we've been having all over the continent. Now let's watch the video. I'll be back and we'll have a quick discussion about this.
I feel like a lot of Africans don't understand the African American experience. I never knew until I came here and started learning the history of what happened here. like all the way from the end of slavery, Jim Crow laws, redlining, the civil rights movement, the pipeline from the school to prison pipeline.
The prison industrial complex.
Yeah, like all of this stuff. I don't think Africans have an idea of all these things that are put against African Americans to become successful. Like even the Africans that are brought here, we're brought and we're put into like nicer neighborhoods. They don't put us in Southside Chicago in like the worst neighborhoods where you literally have to get a gun to survive,
My family members in the US, when they go to the bank to take a loan, they will be given a loan. But when their African American friends go there, to take the same loan, they will deny them, from having a loan. When it also comes to jobs, for example, just to apply some jobs, my African family, with African passport, they will give them some jobs, and then the African Americans, they know they will not be able to have the same jobs. So God bless this brother here for explaining these things, to the Africans who thinks that they are in the United States and they are better than African Americans, because of their hard works, they are there. As he said, from the time of slavery all the way to the Jim Crow era in the United States, not only that, but even today, the way the system is built, you as an African with an African passport, the system will favor you than the African Americans. Because of why? The system knows that first, you are not American, and then not only that, but they can also put a pressure on you, just like at your workplace, to do certain things, even you don't want to. Why? Because you do not want to lose your green card, or you do not want to lose your job, which might just put you at the risk of deporting you back to your home country. I have seen a lot of Africans, on the internet, talking about African Americans being lazy, being this, being that, if you think because of your hard work you are in the US, why don't you sit your ass in Africa, to work hard to get what you are having right now in the US? But no, because you can't make it in Africa because of the way our system back home here also is not enough jobs for people, not only jobs, but you, for example, who is from a minority family, let's start with, you will not have the chance, to be able to do something here because it's not about what you know, it's about whom you know. The same system is in the United States put in place for the African Americans, So I want to see all of you black Americans, I want to see all of you black Africans, to work together, to know that we are all families, I am Africans. And then it hurts me a lot that by seeing Africans on the internet in the United States, trying to bully the African Americans, taking them as lazies, or taking them as they don't work. But this is what happens, if you do not learn your history, and not only that, you also think that white man is God, Trust me, so many of African people are brainwashed to believe in this, Sadly, we even have leaders right now in power who are working for the same people who are oppressing the African Americans in the United States. The same people, our own leaders in Africa, are also oppressing us. These people in the United States, these black Africans who think like this, they just think the same as some of our leaders here right now who are working with these Western powers to oppress the black peoples in general. So I said, it's time for you Africans, who think like this to come on the table, to know that African Americans are our family members.
As an African living in the United States, I used to share the same sentiment that Africans share about African Americans because I had a hard time when I first moved here. People used to always tell me, you're not black enough, you're an Oreo, you're secretly white on the inside, as if I wasn't literally from Africa. But I now understand after living here for 8 years that black in the United States is a very specific criteria and anything outside of that just doesn't fit. But I want to help African Americans understand that Africans coming to the United States are immigrants, first and foremost. Then they are Nigerian or Senegalese or whatever country they're from. And then at some point, they are black. But Africans don't put black high up on their identity well as much as African Americans do. And that is for legitimate reasons on both ends. And so when an African is coming to the United States, they're thinking to themselves, okay, I'm an immigrant here. I have to do my best for myself and my family back home. The sacrifices that took for me to get here were no light work. Okay, so I need to really align myself with what's going to make me successful in this country. And because it's the United States, it's the dominant culture, which is white American culture. And so Africans are going to instinctively ally themselves with the culture that's going to give them the most success. I mean, African Americans even admit that they have to code switch to be successful here because that's what brings success. And so Africans are like, all right, we'll do that. And it also doesn't help that for a long time, Africans are fed a very negative view of Black American culture, and that's its own propaganda. But because Africans are so conservative and they're coming to a country where Black Americans have been labeled as the antithesis to this conservative traditional family values, they have, if anything, more in common with like Southern Baptist, white, racist people. But that aside, going back to identity markers, Black Americans put Black first and foremost, and then everything else goes below it. And so they're thinking when another Black people come to our country, they're going to want to integrate with us, the other Black people, because Black comes first. And they get quickly disappointed in realizing that for Africans, Black and the identity and that coming is not first. Their immigrant identity comes first, and then their country. And if anything, for us as Africans to feel like that's my brother, that's my brethren, or whatever, you have to come from the same tribe as us, because we have so many Black people around, we don't automatically pre-select for Black. But Black Americans don't have so many Black people around, have had to defend and protect their culture amidst a dominant white culture. And so they already pre-select and are overprotective for Black. And so that's why I think at the core of it, there's like a deep misunderstanding because of not realizing that we put where we put our identity markers and what we put first and what we prioritize are so different culturally because of our differences in trauma, realistically. And so it does make sense that Black Americans will be like, oh, my people, my brethren, come here. And African Americans, or Africans, coming to the United States are like, I'm just trying to make it here. Like, it's a lot of work to immigrate to the United States. And so y'all can stay over there, and I can see why it's hurtful, and I can see why it's taken personally, and I can see the deep misunderstanding and the betrayal that African Americans feel. But it's unfortunate, and that's just a reality. But if we can talk about it from this perspective, I think we can get to a better understanding. But I also believe that Africans that spend enough time in the United States get to this compassion and understanding of the Black American community, because it is a very unique and specific set of circumstances for a culture to grow and to develop.
As a conscious African, I must push back against this constant display of ignorance by some African people against African Americans. African Americans must know that this is not the sentiment of a majority of African people. The constant disregard and disrespect of African American accomplishments, of their struggle, of their grace, of their excellence, of their fortitude must stop. It is embarrassing, it is heartbreaking. African Americans must know that this is not the truth. If you ever get a chance of visiting the continent, if you've ever visited the continent, you will know that you are loved, you are supported, and you are embraced as a member of this African family, because you are a member of the African family. And this display of ignorance by Africans, especially those Africans who have decided to settle on this soil, on American soil, must understand that it is because of the struggle, it is because of the sacrifices of African Americans that we are able to be here, that we are able to enjoy these things. And so you are exposing your own ignorance speaking this way. Stop it.
Honestly, I feel like as an African American, this diaspora bullshit.
I have to chime in here because I haven't seen a lot of videos with the AA versus Africans conversation, but this propaganda, this is so westernized. I literally just spent a week in Africa. I went to 3 different countries. I was there a week and a half ago. I went to Egypt, Morocco, and Senegal. I have literally never felt any type of tension between Africans and myself while on the continent. And that was not my first time on the continent. I have been to Ghana, South Africa, Tanzania, Kenya. Literally no country I've been to made me feel unwelcomed or like I wasn't a part of those people, that land, nothing. Regardless of these conversations, please do not let these conversations stop you guys from visiting African countries, because it is not like that over there. I promise you. we have to stop this foolishness. Like, it's not gonna get us nowhere fast. We all just gotta love each other. We all look.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Just hope that you're fine. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are we not learning the true history of each other? Why does the enemy want us so much desperately divided? Because from the stories that these gentlemen and women have shared, you are getting to see that these people have worked so hard to make us divided. Look, I think this is not for the first time you've seen podcasts of Black Americans trying to bash Africans, or rather, podcasts created by Africans trying to bash African Americans or Black Americans. I've seen them, a lot of it. And this is what makes the enemy happy. Look, it takes time for us to get really to understand each other. Like I said before, my perspective of Black Americans today is different from my perspective of Black Americans in the past, because I took my time, dived into the history. I might not have studied all history, but dived into the history at least to have a glimpse of what is it to feel to be a Black person inside the United States. And I understand that a lot of things that we were told as Africans about American Blacks are 99.99% a lie. And it takes time for you as an African to understand, so that you can immerse yourself in the world and understand really what Black people are going through, right? My perspective as a Black person initially, it is not the same. That's honest. That's 100% honest what I'll share with you. I came to learn there is a lot and much lies that me as an African, I had to decolonize my mind, and I had to immerse myself, talk to Black Americans. And today, speaking from a perspective where a day hardly goes without talking to a Black person. I usually talk to them like daily. I have friends, some have become my family. And I was like, shit, why were these people lying about all these people? And like, they're just nice people, they're great. And when you talk to them all, and I'm not saying this to make Black Americans feel good about this, but this is just the truth. I have a good father who is a Black American. Majority of what he wants from us as Africans, they want to see us develop. And it's not about competing like most of us we always want, because we have been told that they are our enemies. And it's crazy that you find sometimes about the crazy stories that I've heard. I haven't gone to the United States as a person, but these are the stories that happens when an immigrant moves from the United States and they come to Africa. You get to realize how they say, the people will say that Black Americans are lazy. These are just a couple of people that have gone maybe for months to work and to come back, or just 1 year. These people haven't grasped really what is it to be a Black person in the United States. You understanding be placed in a system that doesn't want you to grow, right? And we Africans have also been played in this sense. Look, you can't tell me when I go to a bank to get a loan, you are going to give me. And when a Black person who looks like me, who in fact is a citizen, or who in fact is indigenous to the country, that's the United States, you don't want to give them. That's hypocritical. That itself should tell you that there's an agenda that these people have. What's the agenda? That's what we are coming to demystify. One, I came to realize that these people fear when Black people unite. Now they have to sell these narratives for us to get divided. Their happiness is to see Black folks fighting, Africans fighting against each other. Africans fighting against Black Americans, Black Americans fighting against Africans. And it is true, to some point they have achieved this, because I've seen a couple of videos that are really crazy, both Africans and Black Americans trying to bash each other. And this is what makes them happy. They want to sell this aggressive hate towards each other. And it is true, because I've also met Black Americans that they have this hate in themselves. Why? Because they were lied to. Because they are also told that Africans are this way. The same script, but different people. We also Africans, we've been told that American blacks are A, B, C, D. And so my end game is, I think it's a point where Africans need to start incorporating Black American history in the curriculum. That will be my prayer, for us to get to understand each other, for us to have a point in life that we get to see things clearly, not black and white as it has always been. African schools or curriculum are so Eurocentric. They don't teach us about our brothers and sisters in the United States. They don't do that. So, as a result, what do we do to break all these barriers that is making us fight against each other, that is making us hate each other, that is making us have these resentment against each other? What can we do? Right? I think it's time for us as an individual, for a person who is seeking answers, to immerse yourself in history. Get to understand, get to see, live, ask questions. You'll get to understand. Because for me, it took me a life living experience to get this. Like I said, I didn't go to the United States. I haven't gone to the United States. But my daily interaction with Black Americans have changed my perspective of who I thought they were. Like, I was really surprised. These guys are so nice. Right? I've hung out with a couple of blacks who have come in the continent, and honestly, I've gotten a perspective of them, or if not entirely, because I really came to understand the truth. The agenda is to always keep black folks divided by pushing propaganda, not giving things that makes us understand each other, to keep us fighting against each other. That's what they've always wanted. Because you can't tell me you're going to laugh with an African and you can't help a person who is also looking as the person that you are helping, in this case, Africans. That itself should tell you that there is an agenda going on. I don't know what you feel about this video, honestly. Tell me. For me, I find it so educational. These people trying to share their experiences. Some things that have clouded as Africans understanding the struggles of black people. A couple of things is where we come from, that is Africa. People come from different problems, and when they get there, all they want to do is just to make money. They don't want to take their time and understanding, okay, in as much as I'm doing this, how is it harming my brother who looks like me but doesn't live in Africa? Right? So I think in the near future, a couple of those are the factors that we'll put much attention into. Understanding how our geopolitical, social factors has, made us think about integrating with each other, or about how we view each other. And I think that will be an important discourse for us to just have a discussion in regards to all that. As you know, these are presented Jinjuk Stories, and I'm hoping to see you in my next video. Tell me what you think, and tell me how you feel about this, because I feel we need to take time to understand each other. We need to take time to get to know each other better, right? So I'll most definitely ask you to subscribe to my channel if you're watching for the first time. I'll highly appreciate it. Until then, peace, love, and harmony. And happy Black History Month to all black folks, to my black family in the United States. Salute.